With signs of a turning against Trump on right-wing media, I am joined by Obama campaign veteran Che Komanduri. Welcome back.
It's good to be back, Ari.
How do you define what is happening on the airwaves and in the papers, according to the public evidence, and why?
Well, I think the Murdochs definitely want to break up with Donald Trump. And I wish I could say it's because they've grown a conscience or they saw the evidence presented by the January 6th hearings and have changed their minds about him. But I think something far more nefarious is at work. They know that Trump is damaged. They know that more damage is to come. And they see a viable MAGA alternative in Ron DeSantis. They see somebody who can basically play all of Trump's greatest hits, but have none of his baggage. He can use conspiracy theories, he can do culture war battles, he can do all the things that keep their viewers on Fox News engaged, and he never tried to assassinate his vice president. So that's like a very low bar, but DeSantis actually clears it. And if you think about it, when Rupert Murdoch was head of Fox Studios in the 90s, he decided, hey, I'd like to cut costs. Let me replace Keanu Reeves with Jason Patric on the set of Speed 2, which is exactly what he did. That turned out to be a disastrous movie, and I fear that what they're doing is going to be just as disastrous for the country.
And was Murdoch involved in that decision?
Yeah, he was head of Fox Studios in the 90s. And
Amazing.
Actually, when they showed the movie, and it was a really bad movie, his first thing he said to everybody was, well, at least it's cheaper than Titanic.
Well, and it's, whether there's a low-cost version of Trump and DeSantis is the point you're raising. Interesting. We always learn extra things on Che Day. And you do have the public evidence. It's not nothing when the Post and the Journal pick the exact same time to turn on Trump over January 6th for evidence that was dramatically and deeply presented. Much of it was new, as we've emphasized, but the outlines of the problem, as you say, were there for a long time. Then you combine what we just saw, which was Fox hosts fighting about it. Then Mr. Bannon, who has found a lot of support from Tucker Carlson, actually apparently either watches the beat or thinks that our reporting is accurate. So this is, of course, self-referential, but this is a new post from Mr. Bannon that says, the beat coverage, quote, lays out Murdoch's all-out multi-platform assault on Trump, parentheses, the great Tucker Carlson notwithstanding. And he's referring to some of that coverage, Che, and it does look, in fairness, like a multi-platform assault in the sense that Tucker and others are going to do their loyal Trumpism. But This is probably the widest break with Trump we've seen in the last several years on air there.
Yeah, and it's mirrored throughout the Republican establishment. I think the Republican establishment, I have noticed, is getting closer and closer to DeSantis. National Review has run multiple editorials saying DeSantis is the horse we should ride. Rich Lowry wrote in Politico that liberals should be happy with DeSantis. We don't understand why everyone's being upset about it. We're hearing a lot of never-Trumpers, I think, sort of say that, hey, I didn't like Donald Trump, but I can live with Ron DeSantis. You're starting to hear that from the Republican establishment, that this is somebody who we think we can control. This is a better bet. This is somebody who is fresh and new, and he's not going to have all the baggage that Donald Trump has. Their real issue with Trump isn't actually what he did. It's their fear that Trump could lose. That has always been their guiding idea. And I think that they worry that Donald Trump is a goner in another election, and somebody like Ron DeSantis could be brought in and replace him very, very easily.
Right, and to your point, Donald Trump got fewer votes in 2016. He got fewer votes in 2020. He has proved resilient in many ways, I think viewers know. But the notion that everything that's going on is going to somehow miraculously make him not the same, but better. He would have to increase his popularity and appeal and vote total. If you rerun the Biden-Trump election, he lost. And who believed that? None other than, take a look, Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, I think that's exactly
I'm waiting for,
correct.
sorry. We're trying to go to the DeSantis bite. Let's take a look at that.
DeSantis sort of admitted it was time to move on when asked if he accepted Joe Biden as the president-elect.
It's not for me to do. Well, here's what I would say. Obviously, we did our thing in Florida. The college voted. What's got to happen is going to happen.
Now, it's a faux casual style. You know, we did our thing, the Electoral College always votes on December 14th, but it's different than Trump's big lie.
It is. It actually had some shades of Josh Hawley running away. You know, basically, he didn't want to get too close to the danger of the mob. And so he tried to distance himself and give himself some wiggle room for the future. I think DeSantis is actually very cagey and very cunning in that sense. But I also think that explains why somebody like Tucker Carlson is more circumspect about embracing him and still thinks that Trump is the answer and is the key. You know, all you have to do is go on YouTube, go to C-SPAN, watch DeSantis's actual speeches. DeSantis is extremely boring. I think Donald Trump described him as dull, which is, you know, Donald Trump does nothing but lie, but that might be the one true thing that Donald Trump has said. DeSantis is dull. You know, watching Donald Trump, it's sort of like watching a car crash. It's a terrible thing, but you can't take your eyes off of it. With DeSantis, it's much more like having a bad meal at a restaurant. You know, you have the bad meal, you don't finish the plate, you're never going to go to the restaurant again. Nobody out of fascination is going to complete the meal, you know, if it's a bad meal. So I think that's like really the problem with DeSantis. He's boring and repulsive, not just merely repulsive.
You're getting very close to saying that the food was terrible, but the portions were too small. A deep cut.